So if you're a friend of the channel, you would know that I love discovering new things I hadn't even heard about. And Ultra Q is one such bloody great show. And I'm about to tell you about it. So recently I picked up Ultraman, the complete series, on Blu-ray. It is region free. I'll probably do a separate video on that. But when I got this, I noticed there was something a little bit strange about it, because even though it said Ultraman, the collection, the complete series, it also had a 2 up the top. I don't know if you can see that. There, look at that. It has a 2, series 2. So I got a bit confused, and I was like, so there's a series 1 of Ultraman? So I thought, well, hey, I better do a bit of research into this. And no, this is the only Ultraman where it starts, really. But there was a series that was produced a year before, and this is the series that I'm going to talk about, and that is called Ultra Q. Now, it has nothing to do with Ultraman or that universe, which is like just, a giant superhero from another planet that, fights other giant monsters, Godzilla-type monsters. This is a little bit more grounded. It's a series about investigative reporters who just not really seek out to find things. Normally it finds them, but they'll stumble upon things or just really out of this world sort of stuff. Creatures could be coming from another planet, or they could actually be here already. And there are ties to the Godzilla universe with this. The gentleman who designed and created and did all the special effects and everything for Godzilla and those early Toho movies and everything, he went out on his own and around in the mid-60s and created his own company, and this was the result, Ultra Q. Now, this is a black and white series, and pretty much it's... when I've been watching this, I've been thinking about what I could legitimately compare it with. And I came up with so many different things. So I thought, okay, so there's a narration, so very Twilight Zone-esque narration. It's very Outer Limits as well. So you have those two. The special effects and the way that people interact and everything is very Lost in Space, especially that first year of Lost in Space. And then I was thinking, this is probably Doctor Who on a bigger budget as well, with no Doctor Who in it. And I have been really, really enjoying this series. Even though I've only had it for a few days and I'm already into like 6th or 7th episode. These are short episodes. They're only of about 25-minute runtime. They are subtitled. I know a lot of people can't read, so you may have a bit of problems unless you speak Japanese. But because of the short runtime and everything as well, you can probably oversee that as not being as bad a thing, because they are 25-minute blocks of just of you reading. So it's not like it's... I mean, I can look at a show and not really have to read the subtitles. I can just read them both at the same time, because I've just adjusted my eyesight to that, so I can watch an image. And I found one really interesting thing with the subtitles. Obviously these are new subtitles that have been done by Mill Creek, who released this Blu-ray, which of course is region free. And so when I was looking at it, they used the word shit in it. And I thought, you know what, for a 1965-66 series, I don't think even in Japan they would be using the word shit in on television back then. So I actually found an earlier version of the film that had been subtitled, and the instead of using the word shit, they had used the word bastard, which I believe they would actually have used back then. But yeah, I just found that a little bit strange and a little bit like maybe they haven't really thought this through when they were translating these. But that's really the only minor issue I've had. That was the only time I actually really had a real problem with it so far. Is just some of the subtitles were a little bit too modern, I guess. But I've been really enjoying this series. And I think my favorite episode so far is the prehistoric plant that comes and attacks Tokyo, and it literally, like, giant roots just appear in the buildings, and fantastic effects, and um there's this giant flower that just comes out and blooms, and it's just really, really well done. And I could see this as a Doctor Who episode, of course, without the Doctor, but it just, I don't know. I really, really like this show. It's a shame that they went from this series, which is of about 28 episodes, half-hour episodes, to, Ultraman, and then they continued the lineage of Ultraman, Ultra Leo, all those sort of ones. It gets a little bit of a quagmire. But they never, I think they returned to Ultra Q once in around 2000, mainly because I think X-Files was quite popular then as well, even back then. Even though it was starting to wane, it was still popular. And I think looking at so like this, the computer effects are actually probably worse than the practical effects that they used in the 1960s for the monsters and everything. But I've got to say, I've been really, really enjoying this show, and I thought, hey, I think I should share this with a lot of people who probably wouldn't even heard of this show. And I mean, I've been, even though look, it's in black and white, which of course it's 1966. They went to color with Ultraman, but I really enjoy black and white on Blu-ray, especially with film grain, and it just seems a little bit more crisper and a little bit more like 3D. It just the imagery really pops as far as I know when they use like original negatives, black and white negatives to transfer, and I just I don't know. I really am glad I got this series. This series is available in a coloured version, um, and I prefer the original black and white, of course. But if I would suggest that if you don't believe me, you may be able to find it elsewhere, and give it a go, and then go ahead and buy this Blu-ray set, because it's just, I have thoroughly enjoyed this series. Yes, it's not in English, so what? There's very few things that I won't watch that are subtitled. Um, and I just, like I said, I think that there's a lot of people out there crying out for some good science fiction. And I'd say this is very Quatermassy. So, you'd love a good Quatermass, then I'd say you'd like this as well. There are scientists and that work around these investigators. I'm still trying to work out what the investigators are, because they're like a special news team. Like, they'll do like, there's a photographer and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm not quite sure about how the investigators actually operate, because normally a lot of the time they'll just stumble upon something, or it'll come to them, sort of thing. But I really do find this show fascinating, and I think that we are at the stage now where because our current because our current entertainment is so shallow right now and so fixed on trying to teach us how bad and awful we are as human beings, that it's good just to have a rollicking good adventure, even if it's 25 minutes long. And I've been really, 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 really missing that. I cannot suggest this series enough. I absolutely love it. And like I said, I'm nearly finished through the first disc. I've just been enjoying it so much. I'm like, I might just watch another one, And that's very rare for me. So if you can, this box set, like I said, is region free. And if you can get it, this is the United States one from Mill Creek, and it's just brilliant. I love it, and I think you will too. So if you happen to find it somewhere, please check it out. Check out an episode or two. I really highly suggest you check out the plant episode. I think that's either number 4 or 5 out of 28. But yeah, that's been my favourite so far, but they've all been pretty fun. And like I said, if you're a fan of Lost in Space, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, yes, it's in Japanese, but who cares? The Japanese are cool. And who am I? Well, I'm Matt Pot, and I'll see you next time.